And it is a beautiful Thursday evening here. Welcome to TitleTown Throwdown. I am your humble host, Nick LeBlanc. And this is episode 2. In this episode, we're going to discuss. Actually, we're going to start off with this. With the Red Sox season, only 4 games left in the season, tonight against Baltimore, then the weekend series against the Atlanta Braves. This raises the question. And I wrote a piece about this earlier on in the week. Should the Boston Red Sox bring back Alex Cora to be the manager of the Boston Red Sox? Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, but he was part of the Astros cheating scandal. We can't really trust him. Get it? Fair. Understood. Fair point. Taken. But let's think of the not the Astros way. Yes, the Red Sox had an investigation on them as well, but that proved to be negative, and the Red Sox were cleared of everything. So, would bring back Alex Cora make the most sense? Yes, and let me tell you why. He had such a fantastic relationship with guys like Mookie Betts, who unfortunately is with the Dodgers now. Great relationship with Jackie Bradley Jr., J.D. Martinez, Xander Bogaerts, and especially Rafael Devers. Because Devers, Devers was jittery when he first came up. And let's be honest, John Farrell, I don't think he was the greatest manager for the Red Sox. Yes, he came in at a time in which the Red Sox needed him in 2013, and it brought us a World Series championship. But after that, last place. AL East division title, swept by the Indians. AL East title, got our butts handed to us by the Astros in 4. But still, Farrell here, 5 years too long. Or maybe you can even say 2 years too long. 5 is a little bit of a stretch. Anyway, though, but let's just think about what Alex Cora did for this Boston Red Sox team prior to his very abrupt exit from Boston. He rallied the clubhouse around him. Got everyone on the same page from day one. He told everyone, here's what we're going to do. This is how it's going to be done. Either you follow through with it or you don't. Everyone bought in, and it turned into a 108-win regular season, 11 more in the playoffs, 119 wins, a World Series title, the best team in baseball in 2018, and he became the third of 4 managers that the Boston Red Sox have had between 2004 and now to win the World Series in his first season. Because let's think about it. Terry Francona, his first year here in Boston was 2004. He leads probably the greatest Red Sox team ever to the World Series championship. Brought them there again in 2007. And we all know what happened with Terry Francona. I feel Francona should have been here in 2012, and then you make that move. But that's besides the point. Bobby Valentine, no good for Bobby V. No good for Bobby V. And now let's get to John Farrell. New voice. Had some sort of relationship with the pitching staff already before he bolted for Toronto. And was the Blue Jays manager in 2011 and 2012, because originally John Farrell was the pitching coach for the Red Sox. Farrell comes in, Red Sox go to the World Series, they win it. And then after that, everything just fell off the deep end for John Farrell, unfortunately. Alex Cora, he won over the clubhouse like that. Did not take him long at all. What does he do in his very first season? Oh, he only wins 108 games. World Series title. What did he do? 4 titles for this franchise in 20 years. The fact that the Red Sox started the World Series in 2004 was a miracle. Then in 2007, 2013, and 2018, the Red Sox just steamrolled their way to the title. Steamrolled. Granted, the Cardinals gave us a battle in 2013, but the Red Sox steamrolled over them in Game 6. And the Red Sox steamrolled over the Yankees in 2018, steamrolled over the Astros in the ALCS in 2018, and steamrolled the Dodgers. Steamrolled the Dodgers. Let's be honest, they steamrolled LA. Now you can also make the case too. 2019 wasn't that great of a year for Alex Cora because the team got a little complacent. He didn't really have the clubhouse that much. Fair. But there are also many other issues too with the Red Sox going on too. They had no bullpen. Chris Sale wasn't Chris Sale. Eddie Rodriguez was probably your best starter. Nathan Eovaldi couldn't stay healthy. You had guys who could pitch to start, but they couldn't last more than 3 or 4 innings. So that takes into account of it. So, me personally, do I want Alex Cora back? Yes, because I believe Alex Cora might be able to save a little bit of face here in the clubhouse. Because you still got Xander Bogaerts here for a while. Rafael Devers is still going to be here a while. Michael Chavis is going to be here a while. Bobby Dahlbeck, who is probably going to be the next first baseman for the Red Sox now that Mitch Moreland is gone. Alex Verdugo is turning himself into a fantastic, quick Red Sox favorite, I'd have to say. You put all that together, a group that could possibly gel, but you bring back the guy that you had in there that can gel all those pieces together nice and smooth. The Red Sox might actually have a chance to truly do some damage again in 2021, like they did in 2018, like they tried to do in 2019, and what they've ultimately failed to do up to this point now here in 2020 in the 60-game sprint. Yeah, can you believe that? The season started on July 24th for the Red Sox. And the snap of the fingers is almost over. Mercifully, it's almost over because early on, boy, the Red Sox looked horrible. The Red Sox looked terrible. Now, granted, the Red Sox knew what they were getting into before the season. If this was a regular season, if this was a regular 162-game season, you still would have been out without Chris Sale. You would have had a healthy Eduardo Rodriguez. Nate Eovaldi, who knows, he still could have gotten hurt. We don't know. Most likely, he still would have gotten hurt. Verdugo probably still would have turned into the same player that he is now. You probably would have gotten more back from Mitch Moreland if you hadn't. You won the Brandon Workman and Heath Henry trade because those two guys just absolutely stink in Philadelphia. You won that one, Chaim Bloom. Good job. And I think the Dodger trade, that might work out for you too. Because we don't know how long Mookie Betts is still going to be good for. He signed a 13-year contract extension with the Dodgers. David Price opted out of this season for reasons. Obvious reasons. But you don't know how well David Price is going to perform next year and the year after. You don't know. We don't know. Who knows? But Alex Verdugo has been a good move so far for Chaim Bloom. And that's been great. It has worked out so well for Bloom that now you need to find the right manager. Is Ron Renneke the answer? Short-term, yes. Long-term, no. Is Alex Cora the answer? Short-term, yes. Long-term, maybe. Possibly. Because, looking back at my article, Ron Renneke has stated, and he said this on WEI Afternoon Show, Ordway, Maloney, and Fourier, that no conversations have taken place between him and the Red Sox and Bloom. None. Understandable. You just want to get through these last 4 games. No injuries, no health issues, nothing. You don't want to be like the Marlins who are shut down for a week because of COVID. You don't want to be like the Cardinals who are shut down for 2 weeks. You don't want to not play your last 3 games of your season. Because evidently that affects the Atlanta Braves for seeding in the National League. You don't want that to happen to them either. But the Red Sox have done good. No positive tests for the Red Sox. The Red Sox only had one doubleheader throughout the entire season. Only one. That's it. Not many teams can say that about every team in Major League Baseball this year had to have a doubleheader. But the Red Sox were able to just go through their schedule, play the games, and move on. And that's perfect if you're a Red Sox fan and really a fan of baseball too. But Alex Cora, though, good short term, long term, who knows? And again, I want to say this again about Ron Renneke. I got off track, but Ron Renneke said if the Red Sox were to bring in someone else as the manager and Renneke retook his position as bench coach, it'd be weird. Because to Renneke, he'd just be like, well, they're just not going to bring back Alex Cora anyway, and they're going to keep me around. Why not just keep me as manager? He could think that. And Renneke has said he likes Cora. He respects Cora. He feels Cora is a good manager, and Cora brought him in to help him out. And look how well it did him. It did him fantastic. So Renneke's basically saying, yeah, I'll go back to being bench coach, but only if Alex Cora comes back. If you're just going to hire a new manager, you might as well just show me the door, and I'll go out and get a manager job elsewhere. Detroit's looking for a manager right now, so there's an opening for Ron Renneke. There's three options with Renneke here, okay? And I'm just going to point them all out, and this is how we're going to wrap up this Red Sox segment. There are three options for Ron Renneke at the end of the season. One, say to the Red Sox you want to be the manager from 2021 and beyond. To me, that's at least 2021, at the very least. Two, bring back Alex Cora. I'll go back to being the bench coach. No problem. Or three, let me walk. If you're going to bring in someone new anyway, let me walk. So, Bloom and the Red Sox, they need to have this discussion because Alex Cora's one-year ban is up at the end of the World Series, however long it goes. It doesn't matter how long it goes. Right now, Game 7 of the World Series at the latest will be October 31st. So on November 1st, Alex Cora's suspension from baseball will be up. It will be done, and the Red Sox or any other team can negotiate a contract with them and either become a new manager, hitting coach, bench coach, whatever. Anyway, when we come back, are the Celtics in really deep trouble? They're down 3-1 to the Miami Heat. We'll discuss what's going on with the Celtics and how they can stave off elimination next. You're listening to TitleTown Throwdown. And welcome back to TitleTown Throwdown. I am Nick LeBlanc. I am your host. Hello. So, before we went to break, I said the Celtics are down 3-1 to the Miami Heat. Now, here's what's really weird about this series. The Celtics and the Heat have scored the exact same amount of points through 4 games of this series. And all the Celtics playoff losses, all 6 of them were either in overtime or they lost by less than 5 points. In 6 Celtic losses this postseason, they've lost by a combined total of just 22 points. And now you go back to what I said. The Celtics and the Heat have scored the same amount of points throughout the entire series. You might think, oh, well, the series should be tied 2-2. It should. It absolutely should, but it's not. Because of one man on the Miami Heat that is just kicking the Celtics' butt. Tyler Hero, however you pronounce it. He is beating the Celtics single-handedly. Jimmy Butler, he's more like a supporting cast member right now. But Butler's still putting up 20-plus points. Hero had a best game of his rookie season last night against the Celtics. 35 points. Mind-boggling. And just what you're not seeing from the Celtics, what you saw really against the 76ers. And early on in the Raptors series. The Celtics are getting to rebounds. They were getting to loose balls. They were getting to everything. They were up in your face, not letting you get a bucket. Now all of a sudden, the Celtics getting a lot of fouls called on them, rightfully so. But now it's like the Celtics are afraid to contest a shot. They're afraid to contest a rebound. That's what's hurting the Celtics. They're chucking up threes. They're not hitting them. They're not getting the offensive rebound to try to get another bucket. The Celtics are having trouble getting a groove. Because we all know once the Celtics get into a groove, they are an extremely tough and very tough team to beat. Especially when you got guys like Kemba Walker going, Jaylen Brown going, Marcus Smart going, Jason Tatum going. Heck, throw in Gordon Hayward. When Hayward gets going, he's tough to stop. Now, Hayward's presence in Game 3 was much needed, a good breath of fresh air for the Celtics. He dodged a lot of loose balls. He dodged a lot of loose rebounds. He only dodged the 3 points, but he was there to provide a spark. And he provided the spark for you. Now, Gordon Hayward's mind was elsewhere last night because his wife gave birth to their fourth child, a son. Congratulations to Gordon Hayward on that. So his mind was in La La Land. Rightfully so. But that's when you're a guy like Brown, Walker, Smart, Tatum. You gotta pick up the pace again. Because yeah, Hayward is there physically. He wasn't really there mentally. Because his mind is elsewhere. His mind was concerned about his wife and his newborn kid. Again, rightfully so. That's when the team leaders really need to step up and guys off the bench. Daniel Tice, he plays his game. He's just getting a lot of fouls called on him, and Brad Stevens can't utilize him the way he wants to because Tice is getting into foul trouble too early. And you look at the Miami Heat, the Heat are getting all the rebounds. They're getting to the loose balls. The Heat in the second half last night, prior to the dysfunction in the last 2 minutes for them, a game that they should have blown wide open earlier in the fourth quarter, but they let the Celtics hang around in the last 2 minutes. Miami Heat only had one turnover throughout the entire second half. And that's really what's been the difference in this series. The Heat have been able to take care of the ball more than the Celtics. The Celtics are making careless passes, careless shots. And the Heat, they're taking those careless shots. They're taking those careless turnovers and turning them into points the other end. And the Heat are just beating the Celtics by getting a 2 here, a 2 there, another 2 here, another 2 here, then the 3 ball. The Celtics, they're shut down 3 after 3 after 3 after 3 after 3. That's not going to win your basketball games here, fellas. If you just keep chucking up 3 after 3 after 3, while the Heat are just getting two points at a time, something's wrong here. So what do the Celtics need to do to get back completely in this series and avoid elimination tomorrow night? Get to the net. Shoot twos. Twos are good. Shoot the three ball only when you need to shoot the three ball. Get the rebounds. Get the loose balls. Don't give the Heat extra possessions. Don't give the Heat extra opportunities. Because the Heat are taking those extra possessions opportunities, taking it right down the other end of the court and scoring. It's not rocket science. It's just the Heat right now, they're the better team than the Boston Celtics, and the Celtics are the better team than the Heat. So if you're looking at it right now on paper, the Celtics should really be up in this series, or this series should be over. But the Celtics aren't playing like the best team. The Miami Heat are playing like the best team. And the Heat are one win away from their first NBA Finals appearance since 2014. While the Celtics need to find a way to win 3 games in a row to save their season and go to the NBA Finals for the first time in a decade. Because right now, the Miami Heat want it more than the Boston Celtics. And the Heat are probably the toughest team to play. They've lost only 2 games this entire postseason. I don't know how many games they lost in the quote-unquote 8-game restart regular season finale, but I guarantee you it probably wasn't that many. If I had to guess, this Heat team only has about 5 losses total in the entire bubble. 5 losses total in the entire bubble. They could have less than 5. They could have more than 5. The most important number to look at is 2. 2 postseason losses. And that came in Game 4 in the Eastern Conference semifinal against the Milwaukee Bucks in Round 2. And it came against in Game 3 against the Boston Celtics. Other than that, the Heat rolled past the Pacers. They rolled past the Bucks. And right now, they're going to roll past the Boston Celtics and go to the NBA Finals. And now, whether they play the Denver Nuggets or the Los Angeles Lakers, whoever draws them, they're going to have their hands full, especially Tyler Herro and Jimmy Butler. Herro's doing all the heavy lifting. Butler is just able to play his game, and that's how the Heat have been successful. The Heat are playing their game. So what are my tips for the Celtics heading into Game 5 tomorrow night? Play the game you know how to play. Follow the game plan. Attack the bucket. Attack the rim, both offensively and defensively. Don't allow Tyler Herro to beat you. Let him beat you. You don't give him any opportunities. You cover up Jimmy Butler. You will win Game 5. You will force this to a Game 6. And you could force this to a 7th game. Because I'm going to tell you this. It's going to be very difficult to beat the Heat 3 times in a row. But that's what you need to do right now. You need to beat the Heat 3 times in a row in order to get yourself to the finals. You need to have a hot start. You need to have a better first quarter than you did last night. Jaylen Brown needs to have a much better first half than he did last night. Jaylen Brown didn't score a bucket until halfway through the third quarter last night. That's not good. So there's that. So Celtics, play the way you've been playing the game the entire time you've been in the bubble and prior to the suspended season. Just keep doing it that way. All right, when we come back, do the Patriots have their hands full with the Oakland Raiders? Or should I say the Las Vegas Raiders? Find out next. You're listening to TitleTown Sport. You're listening to TitleTown Throwdown. My apologies. All right, I'm back. Welcome back to TitleTown Throwdown. I'm your humble host, Nick LeBlanc. So the Patriots, they fell to the Seattle Seahawks last week. Very close, the last three matchups, here's what's ironic about the last three matchups between the Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. All three games ended at the 1 yard line. Russell Wilson's interception by Malcolm Butler at the 1 yard line in Super Bowl 49. There's one. Tom Brady's incomplete pass to Rob Gronkowski in the end zone. That happened at the 1 yard line. Seattle won that game. And then last Sunday night, Cam Newton tried to run it in from the 1, stopped well short, and the Seahawks won the game. Now, that's not to say that Cam Newton is not doing a very good job. Cam Newton was responsible for roughly 96% of the offense last week between his arm and his legs. Cam Newton has done fantastic so far in a small time with the New England Patriots. Fantastic. Now, the Patriots have a real tough test this week. Surprise, surprise, everyone. The John Gruden-led, now formerly known as Oakland Raiders, now the Las Vegas Raiders, are 2-0. Coming to Foxborough. Not too many hostile territory because there's no fans. No fans again this week. Patriots are hoping to get fannies in the seats at some time, hopefully in October, at a very limited capacity. But hey, some fannies are better than no fannies. Let's be honest with that. Anywho, the Patriots have a real tough game against the Raiders this week because Derek Carr, he's really led his offense from the first snap of the season a couple weeks ago at Carolina into what they did last week to the Saints defense. Now, the first two games have been close. So not saying that the Raiders defense is anything to write home about. The Raiders have struggled defensively, both on the run and in the pass defense. But they seem to have a good grip, though, on Drew Brees. As Drew Brees is just doing check down after check down after check down after check down. Sounds a little familiar to the quarterbacks now playing in Tampa Bay. Anywho, the Patriots offense has a really good opportunity here to really explode and shine. Cam Newton, he's shown more. The offense showed more very late in the game against Seattle. Because throughout the entire third quarter, good part of the fourth quarter, they looked dead in the water. And the defense had a hard time stopping the Seahawks, but also the Seahawks have DK Metcalf, and he's tall enough to play basketball too right now at the same time. But besides that, the Patriots defense then hunkered down a little bit. Offense started to wake up again a little bit. So the offense has a good little mojo going heading into this week against the Raiders, whose defense has struggled a little bit. So this is a perfect opportunity for Josh McDaniels to let Cam Newton air it out a little bit more. Not saying that Newton can't run with his legs. Still let Newton run. Still have the design quarterback runs. Don't make it run dominant. Do what you did this past week in the fourth quarter that got you back in that game against Seattle in the first place. A good mix of run and pass. You do a good mix of run and pass, you're going to keep the Raiders on their toes throughout the entire game. You're going to have fun. Now, here's where it comes to the defense. Stephon Gilmore got beat multiple times against DK Metcalf last week. Gilmore can't be beat. He won the Defensive Player of the Year award last year. And for him to get beat that bad, oof, not good. Not good at all. Patriots defense has their hands full because Derek Carr, he can slay it down the field. And if you leave any guy on the Raiders wide open, especially Waller, it's going to be a long day for your defense. So the Patriots really should consider playing more man defense this week rather than zone. Cover every guy you can, because if you don't give Derek Carr anywhere to throw to, Carr will tuck it and run, but you will have the guys there so that way he doesn't get very far or force him to throw it either out of bounds or force Derek Carr into making a mistake. And he can make mistakes. He makes plenty of them. Whether it's fumbling the football, getting intercepted, one of the two. So what I want to really see from the Patriots again is more development on the pass game. I think the pass game was really starting to come together late last week. Edelman had a career night. N'Keal Harry seemed to get involved. Bird seemed to get involved. Wherever the heck he came from, he's looked good. So the Patriots, so Newton's starting to find something in these guys that I don't think Brady was able to find in any of these guys last year. Brady couldn't find much in Harry. He knew he had an Edelman, but he didn't know what he had in N'Keal Harry. He didn't know what he had in Ryan Izzo. He doesn't know what he had in these guys. You're starting to see what Izzo has a little bit. You're starting to see what N'Keal Harry has a little bit. You're starting to see what this kid Bird has a little bit. Because Newton is giving the ball to these guys and giving them opportunities to make a play. Just give the guys these opportunities to make the plays. They're going to be successful. And Cam, he's trusting his guys. He's trusting his receivers. And really, if you want to say, oh, well, that was probably the Patriots' offensive downfall last couple seasons, just because Brady didn't trust these guys. And that is absolutely true. Brady did not trust these guys. The only guys Brady trusted were Rob Gronkowski and Julian Edelman. And guess what? Edelman's still here, and Gronk is down with Brady in Tampa Bay. And what has Gronk done in Tampa Bay this year? Nothing. 2 catches on 3 targets. That's it. That's Rob Gronkowski for you folks. A year out of retirement. He's looking great. Julian Edelman, 2 games without Tom Brady. He already has almost 20 receptions, almost 200 yards, maybe a little over 200 yards. Now, granted, Edelman might not have a couple more catches, maybe a touchdown already, maybe 300 yards receiving if Brady were here, which, again, could be true because Tom Brady is a pocket passer. Cam is more of a mobile quarterback who can extend plays. Cam is so hard to bring down. Newton can elude a sack, extend a play, and just chuck the ball downfield whether it's going to be complete or not. Because in Cam's mind, I'd rather have it be 3rd down and 10 than 3rd down and 20. With Brady had no mobility. So you had to take the 3rd and 20 half the time. With Cam, he's able to get out of it a little bit, just find a receiver and just chuck it downfield or chuck it out of bounds. Does Cam rather have the 3rd and 10 long field rather than the 3rd and 20 long field? But also, though, the Patriots' play calling really needs to improve. McDaniels, he's called some good plays, but start to dig more into the bag of chips. Let's start to see some laterals. Let Edelman throw the ball a little bit. Let's see that a little bit more. I'd love to see that. How about an Edelman to Newton conversion in the end zone? Why not? We saw Brady to Edelman to I forgot who the tight end was last year. I think Izzo last year in Philadelphia for a touchdown. And I'll flashback to 2014 playoff game against the Ravens. Brady to Edelman to Amendola, touchdown. Let's see more of that, Josh. Let's see more of that. I would love to really dig deep in the playbook. As Cam Newton said prior to the training camp started, he's challenging Josh McDaniels to open the playbook up, do more than what you could when Tom Brady was here. Now's your chance, Josh. Now is your chance. Do it. Final break coming up, but when we come back, it's everyone's favorite segment. It's my favorite segment. Nick's picks for week 3 of the NFL coming up. You're listening to TitleTown Throwndown. As I said, it is time for our favorite segment, Nick's Picks. We are picking week 3 of the NFL season. Can you believe that we're already in week 3 of the NFL season? And before we begin here with the Nick's Picks, good news on the NFL this week from tested between September 13th and the 19th, which was week 2 of the NFL season. No positive cases of any players or coaches. So the NFL, they've gone 2 straight weeks of no positive COVID tests. The NFL's going strong. Baseball's really gotten their acts together a little bit. Baseball's had a major outbreak since the Cardinals in late July, early August. So that is great news. So let's get on to the games. Thursday night football. We got the Miami Dolphins visiting the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a tough game. Gardner Minshew versus Ryan Fitzpatrick. He keeps games close. I just don't think the Dolphins defense is quite there just yet. I feel the Jaguars are going to win this game outright. All right. Raiders and the Patriots here at lovely Foxborough Gillette Stadium. The Raiders have scored 30-plus points in 2 straight games for the first time since 2016, which is ironically enough the last time they made the playoffs. Regardless of fans in the stands or not, the Patriots are just a very tough team to beat at home, and the Raiders have to fly cross country again, second time in 3 weeks. That amount of travel will hurt them. I'm going to know the Patriots at home over the Raiders. A pair of 2-0 teams in Buffalo as the Rams and the Bills meet. This is going to be a good game. However, though, the Rams are 3-13 against the AFC East since 2002. That's not very good. That is not very good. That's the worst out of any division. And really, that 13th loss, if you want to think about it, if you want to count postseason, the Patriots. The Patriots have beaten the Rams multiple times when they were the LA Rams and the St. Louis Rams, and then just recently in the Super Bowl. So I don't know the Bills. The Bills are going to circle the wagons and move their way to 3-0 on the season. The 0-2 Texans are going to Pittsburgh to take on the 2-0 Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers have won 4 of the last 5 games against Houston. I think that trend continues. John Watson, the Texans offense are on a very tough time right now. Big Ben, he looks like the Big Ben of old right now. I don't know the Steelers in this one. Steelers go to 3-0, and the Texans will still search for their first win. A pair of winless teams in Philadelphia as the Bengals and the Eagles will match up. Cincinnati has allowed 153 rushing yards allowed since last season. That is the most in the National Football League. That spells good news for the Eagles, who like Cam Newton, Carson Wentz can extend plays with the legs. He can run the ball. Might be a good running day for Philly. Wentz might not have to pass the ball too much. Eagles get their first win. Joe Burrow, who has never lost, who prior to last week never lost 2 games in a row. He's unfortunately going to lose 3 games in a row after this week. The San Francisco Giants are playing their second consecutive game at MetLife Stadium as they take on the New York Giants. The 49ers are pretty banged up. They're banged up. Nick Bosa done for the year. Garoppolo out a month and a half at the very least. Raheem Mostert gone for a while. Backup running back gone for a little bit. This is a perfect opportunity for the Giants to really win a game and show that they have a little bit of spine. Offense has looked good first couple of weeks, but their defense really stepped up last week as they only lost by 4 to the Chicago Bears. I'm still going to give this one to the San Francisco 49ers, despite the fact that Jim Garoppolo is not there. I'm still going to go with the Giants in this one. Giants go to 2-1. 49ers go to 2-1. Giants go to 0-3. The 2-0 Titans take on the 0-2 Vikings. Kirk Cousins has 7 interceptions in his last 6 games dating back to last season. As long as the Titans have Derrick Henry, they're going to be tough to beat. But I think the Vikings will show up, ready to go, ready to play. Kirk Cousins, he's going to have a great game. I don't know the Vikings, they get their first win and hand Tennessee their first loss. Washington football team and the Cleveland Browns, both teams are 1-1. Washington has allowed 30-plus points in 4 of the last 5 regular season games. That spells a little bit of good news for the Browns, who really found their stride offensively last week against the Bengals. I am going to go with the Cleveland Browns in this one over the Washington football team. Browns go to 2-1, and the football team will fall to 1-2. The 2-0 Bears go down to Atlanta to take on the 0-2 Falcons. The Bears only have allowed one passing touchdown this year, which is the fewest in the NFL, tied for the fewest anyway. The Falcons should be 1-1. We all know what happened to them last week on that onside kick. I don't know the Falcons in this one because I think Mitchell Trubisky, this game will go back to being Mitchell Trubisky and throwing turnover after turnover. But quick message to the Falcons. If the Bears onside kick it, the Bears have to wait for it to go 10 yards. You can jump on it at any time. Doesn't matter how far the ball goes. Jump on it at any given moment. You did that last week, maybe be 1-1. But you didn't, so whatever. Anyway, still, Falcons go to 1-2, Bears fall to 2-1. The 0-2 Panthers take on the LA Chargers. Carolina's allowed 20-plus points in their last 14 consecutive games. That just proves that the Panthers' defense has struggled. Offense struggled a little bit last week against Tampa Bay. They did force a Brady turnover and turn that into points. I think ride that little bit of momentum. Justin Herbert is going to make he could potentially make his first official NFL start this week, or Tyrod Taylor will be back. Either way, perfect opportunity for the Panthers to really roar here, get their first win under new quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. I don't know the Panthers in this one. Panthers go to 1-2. Chargers fall to 1-2. The 0-2 Jets visit the 1-1 Colts. The Jets have scored fewer than 20 points in 12 games in 2019. That does not spell well for their offense. Sam Darnold, he should be improved a little bit more, but still going to struggle. I am going to go with Phillip Rivers and the Indianapolis Colts in this one. Jets fall to 0-3. Colts go to 2-1. The Bucs and the Broncos. Tom Brady, he is 4-7 lifetime against the Denver Broncos on the road. That is including the playoffs. And for whatever reason, Brady's never played well in Denver. But with the injury to Drew Lock and all the other injuries that the Colts have, as Copeland's out, Cortland Sutton is out for the season, Drew Lock's out for a significant amount of time. That's their offense. Defense, spotty. Perfect opportunity for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to go to 2-1, and the Broncos fall to 0-3. So yes, I'm going the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on this one. The Dallas Cowboys come off of a thrilling win against the Atlanta Falcons. Take on Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. Wilson has 4+ passing touchdowns in each of his first 2 games this season. This is going to be probably the best game of the week. This is going to be the best game of the week. The Cowboys and the Seahawks. Hands down. These two teams play tough each other. The Cowboys, they won up in Seattle, I believe, 4 or 5 years ago. I think they could do it again. But I'm going to go the Seattle Seahawks win this one. The Cowboys fall to 1-2. Seahawks improved to 3-0, but it's going to be a very good game. Do not be surprised if that game goes in overtime. Lions and the Cardinals. The Lions are 0-2. Cardinals are 2-0. The Lions got off to a hot start against the Packers, but then faded. Cardinals, they've been rocking it since. Kyler Murray's really starting to come into his own now as an NFL quarterback. I'm going to know the Arizona Cardinals in this one. Cardinals go to 3-0, surprisingly, and the Lions will fall to 0-3. Sunday Night Football. This is going to be a good one. Aaron Rodgers versus Drew Brees. Sunday Night Football. Superdome, soundless, again, didn't benefit Tom Brady too much. It might benefit Aaron Rodgers, who has just been on absolute tear early on this season. Aaron Rodgers has just found a groove quickly as Green Bay scored 40+ points each in their first 2 games. They lead the NFL in scoring right now. Defense found a bit of a groove against the Lions last week. Can they keep that going against Drew Brees, who are in the Saints, who are still going to be without Michael Thomas this week? This is going to be a great game, but I think if the Patriots score 40-plus points, Saints won't score enough to catch up. Patriots improve to 3-0. Saints fall to 1-2. And to wrap up the week, Monday Night Football, the Chiefs and the Ravens. This is going to be a fantastic game. The Ravens haven't lost a regular season game in forever. The last loss was week 4 last year to the Cleveland Browns. Then after that, they won 14 straight games in the regular season. Not 12 straight games, my apologies. Finished 14-2. Won their first 2 games here. They've won 14 consecutive regular season games. That streak ends. Because as much as a great quarterback as Lamar Jackson will be, lies a little bit too much on his legs. Mahomes uses a good combination of both his legs and his arm. I got Mahomes and the Chiefs in a close one. Chiefs go to 3-0, and the Ravens suffer their first loss since last September. So there you have it. I went 13-3 last week on game picks. Let's see how I do. Every year I shoot for 16-0, and I never did a 16-0 week. So that is unfortunate. But anyway, though, thank you for tuning into this edition of TitleTown Throwdown. I'm Nick LeBlanc. Have a fantastic night.